9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Dollar Car Rental Studios, it's The Ramsey Show, where debt is dumb, cash is king, and the paid-off home mortgage has taken the place of the BMW as the status symbol of choice. I'm Dave Ramsey, your host. Thank you for joining us. Open phones at 888-825-5225. That's 888-825-5225. Dr. John Deloney, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. We invite you to be part of the program, and he and I will be answering your questions. He's author of the best-selling book, Redefining Anxiety, the highly popular podcast, The Dr. John Deloney Show, where he talks about mental health, boundaries, relationships, things that are going on. So you can weave those questions into the show today if you want. He's here to help. And I've always got an opinion. I'm an expert on my opinion. The phone number, 888-825-5225. Delaney starting us off in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Hi, Delaney. How are you?
Hi, Dave. I'm good. How are you?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
Well, my husband and I own 10 acres of property that our current home is on, and we are considering parceling some of it off and building a new home on that. And my husband and I are just having a hard time kind of swallowing the idea of spending that much on building a new home. So we were just kind of looking for some personal advice as far as is it appropriate for us to spend that much money?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, there's one of two things is telling you this, either emotion from all the years of frugality to get to where you are, and so the facts are not that you cannot afford it, meaning you can afford it, or you're getting ready to build too much house, and the arithmetic is telling you that, and you just need somebody to say it out loud for you, okay? So how much money are you going to spend on the house?
Probably about $800,000.
Okay. How much money do you have?
Well, between equity in our home, we probably have around $250,000 in equity.
And how much in your nest egg?
About, you mean our...
Like your 401ks, your retirement, your investments?
Yeah. Probably about another $250,000.
Okay. And how old are you?
I'm 32.
Oh, okay. And what's your household income?
About $350,000.
Okay. Well, the guideline that we use is that can you afford to put the house on a 15-year fixed rate where the payment is no more than a fourth of your take-home pay? And so the answer to $800,000 is yes, you can do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now,
okay.
Here's the trick. 15-year fixed rate. And a plan to go ahead and get it paid off with your fabulous $350,000 income even faster than 15 years. The average millionaire in the Ramsey research that we did, 10,000 of them we studied, pays off their home in 11.2 years. So I want you to knock this thing out. You have a fabulously large shovel. Your income is amazing. What do y'all do?
I'm a nurse practitioner, and my husband is a CPA.
You're both going to keep working?
Yes, we will.
What's wrong with your current house?
Well, we have 4 small children, so we don't have quite enough bedrooms, and they're mostly desires. We could definitely make it work, but it's mostly just desires for a little bit extra, and that's where we're, like you said, we've been living frugally for so long, and now it's like, okay, are we okay with taking this next step and spending this kind of money, or should we, use it to benefit in other ways?
Now, you said equity in your home. Is your current home paid for?
No, we have about $250,000.
Would you sell that property off when you do this?
Yes, we would.
Good. Okay. Yeah. Then I would do this.
Okay.
Now, the trick is, 4 little kids, you can't call me up and go, oh, we decided to cut our income in half. Because I'm going to stay home.
Yes. Yes.
You gave that right up when you bought this house.
Yes, and we pay about $40,000 a year in childcare.
I know.
So in about three or 4 years, that won't even be, on our budget at all. So that's another area that will gain more cash flow too.
Well, the key part of this equation is just your income to your payment, and you can make that work. And not just make it work, it shouldn't be any trouble at all. And then you just keep working your baby steps. But as you find money in your budget, you're going to keep working. Baby steps 4, 5, 6. 4 is 15% of your income into retirement. 5 is kids' college, and 6 is all the other money we scrape together from something that any other money that comes up, bonus money, increases in income, whatever, is all going to throw it at the house, and this house is going to get paid off in sooner than 15 years. And that's the pattern that you want to be on. That's where all the data points lead us.
And so, specifically, you would take that $250, put it against this house.
Yes.
So now we're at $550.
Yes.
And I'm looking at that against my $325,000 a year salary. That's easy.
Yeah.
That's simple math.
Yeah. 15-year fixed rate, and where the payment's no more than a fourth of your take-home pay, you're easily going to do that.
Yeah.
And so they can reach over and knock that thing out pretty quick.
Yeah.
It just it is a little bit emotional, but also. Really, they're taking on a big chunk of debt.
Yep.
Because I couldn't tell early in the call whether she had $2 million set aside or something. I couldn't feel it. So, again, the facts will lead you to say this is okay, but the facts also say, you have to continue the trek that you're on. You can't change direction on.
And you also have the emotion of selling part of your 10-acre plot, and that's your dirt, right? And
yeah, they're willing to do that. I think that's pretty well decided. Now, when John Deloney gets ready to sell a piece of dirt, that's a problem. This is like the counselor will need counseling.
It will be hard for me to sell dirt. Yeah.
You are a dirt maniac.
I do like land.
I am too. One of my favorite places on the planet is my big old farm, and there ain't nothing on it but some grass and rabbits.
I remember going out to it the first time.
Bunch of spent shell casings.
I went out there and this is. And I thought, this is a happy place, man.
There's nothing else here, dude.
It's incredible.
Nothing else here. Just a big old piece of dirt. And somebody needs to hold the rest of the earth together, and that piece of dirt does it. So that's why I'm here. That's my calling.
I'd have a hard time parceling. But, again, everybody does their thing. But you taught me this when you start playing with bigger shovels and you start playing with bigger zeros, and it really leaning into those ratios is important.
Yeah, it is a little bit like, your trauma formula. Facts are your friends.
Yeah.
Okay, what's really going on, not what's the emotion.
Right.
And what's really going on is you do the math, and, you look at a projection on that, and you look at the facts, and then you say, okay, why am I scared?
Yeah.
Why am I ashamed? Why then do I have these negative feelings when all the math indicates I shouldn't?
Do you still, if I go look at a new truck, I still have a number from the first time I looked at a truck back in '97, and I look at new trucks now, and I sound like a grandfather, like, what are they doing? You know what I mean? Because in my head, it should be 17 grand.
Can you believe they charge that for a pickup?
That's exactly right.
Yeah, you can.
It just stays
hear
in
your
there,
grandfather coming out of your own mouth. I love it. Your great-grandfather.
My great-granddad, with these prices.
My tire. One wheel. That's all I can afford. One wheel.
Uphill both ways in the snow.
This is the Ramsey Show. Stop paying your overpriced wireless provider and switch to Pure Talk. They use the same network as the larger providers for much less. For just $30 a month, get unlimited talk, text, and 6 gigs of data with no contract. The average family saves over $70 a month by switching to Pure Talk. Just go to puretalk.com and enter the promo code Ramsey to save 50% off your first month. Pure Talk, simply smarter wireless. if you listen to this show much, you know we love our debt-free screams. They're fun. A lot of times there's hardly a dry eye in the place as these folks tell their stories. But none tug at your heart like the ones we get where a mom or dad has passed away and now their family's debt-free because they took care of business and they had term life insurance in place before their spouse passed away. Now that one will make you cry for sure. And that's what it looks like when you have your act together. Your family is taken care of in the good times and in the bad. Insurance is your defense. Investing is your offense. And you got to play both if you're going to win. And it's why it's not okay to put it off. You got to get term life insurance in place. You need to do it right now. And we've made finding a policy really easy for you with our term life calculator. You can answer a few questions and give us a snapshot of your life, and our free calculator will show you how much coverage you really need, which ends up being about 10 to 12 times your annual income on each of you, and how long you need to keep the insurance in place. And all this takes less than 5 minutes and it's completely free. And you find the best policy, compare rates with Xander, our trusted partner, and they'll shop a dozen plus top insurance companies to find the best deal for you. It's easy to get your results completely free. Text Term Life to 33789. Term Life to 33789 and find the best policy for you. In a couple hours, John Deloney, my co-host, Dr. John Deloney, and I are going to be doing an Entree Leadership Theme Hour. And if you would like to participate in that, meaning you have business questions, can be anything about business that you want to talk about, people issues, marketing issues, money issues, ideas, whatever it is you're struggling with or got questions about in business, we're going to take business, particularly small business question, that hour. And if you want to participate in that, email right now, and Kelly will make you a part of that hour. And just email Dave on air at RamseySolutions.com. Dave on air at RamseySolutions.com. And we'll get you on the Entree Leadership Theme Hour coming up in a couple hours. So jump on there and make sure you do that. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Albert is in Austin, Texas. Hey, Albert, how are you?
I'm doing good. How about you, Dave?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
So basically, I have about $140,000 in student loan debt between me and my wife. We make about $140,000 a year, and we basically are in a position where we can either make monthly payments of $1,400 a month and pay off all our debt in 10 years, or we can enter into a repayment plan, put about the maximum into our 401ks and essentially pay $0 for the first 5 years, and then after 20 years, potentially get everything forgiven. So I'm trying to see whether we should just start to pay it off completely, or whether the repayment plan could have some benefits that, allow us to save money and invest earlier, because, compound interest.
What's your degree in?
So I have a master's in finance, and my wife, she has a bachelor's of science in nursing.
I saw that one coming. Okay.
Albert, I don't know what the Greek word for irony is, but I think it's finance degree.
Ooh.
In $140,000. Well done, man. You're a smart kid, aren't you?
Well, most of it was actually for me. So before I got my master's degree, we had about $70,000, and then that program cost about an extra $70,000. But it did increase my income by about 30%, so I saw that as worth it.
So you increased your debt load by 100% and your salary by 30%?
Yeah, but the amount of time it would take to, kind of get that 30% increase in my regular career, which was I did a bachelor's in accounting, would have took me about 5 years. So I saved 5 years of time trying to move up the ladder by just going to school 1 year.
Okay. I have a degree in finance as well, and people that are wired like me and you have a well, you've always heard that your greatest strength is your greatest weakness, right, Albert?
Yeah.
And I have a couple of tendencies because of my uncanny ability with math. I'm very good with math, and you are too. I can tell. because everything that you've talked about since you got on the phone is all about mathematical analysis. And so and John's right, you're obviously a very bright guy. Those things are actually going to work against you in this conversation, though. And because they've worked against me in my past. And so being the older nerd of the two of us in this conversation, I made the mistake of thinking that I could measure all issues like risk and strain and relationship messes with a math formula, and you can't. And so, for instance, in the formula that you just used to justify your master's degree, you did not have anything in that math formula for the extra risk you took on with a $70,000 extra weight. All you did was just look at a simple ROI. And so you left life variables out of your formula called risk, and thereby would have neutralized some of your mathematical conclusions. But you learn that after risk knocks your freaking teeth out a couple of times, and then you go, okay, the math formula missed that. And that's what happened to me, so and has more than once. And so we need to do the best we can do with a mathematical analysis, but what I'm going to urge you to do is to realize earlier rather than later, because it hurt me, I brought pain into my life, that math does not measure common sense. Math does not measure risk very often. There's a few places you can actually use a beta, an inverted formula, and you know what I'm talking about on an investment, Albert, but there's very few times that people actually plug risk into these equations. Which makes our math naive. It's emotionally immature. Does that make any sense? And so all of that to say, no, do not stay in debt 20 years and try to screw around and get rich with your 401k while you do 3 versions of a 2-step twirl around, hoping some political thing is going to come along and bail your butt out of this ridiculous hole you dug yourself into. No, you take your $140,000 income and you punch this mess you made in the mouth, and you get rid of this student loan as fast as you can, because all the data that we have on millionaires says that none of them, not a single one, and we studied 10,000 of them, and this is statistically significant, not a single one said, I'm going to keep my student loan around as long as I can and dance with it so that I can invest in my 401k and it will offset. And I understand mathematically how you got there, but dude, naive doesn't even touch this conversation. Right. Please set the pencil down and go and just pay off your student loan. Get visceral, emotional about it, and get rid of the mess. Quit walking around proud about the fact you've got it. Yeah. It's a mess. Now go fix it.
Here's what it looks like in real life. You got a wife that's a nurse, Albert. You have a finance job. As Dave said, there's any sort of correction in the market, and they call you in because you're new and you're young, and you're gone. And suddenly your 5-year acceleration turns into a 7-year deceleration. That's number one, right? So, and you're going to say, that never happened to me. I got a graduate degree. Cool. Live in that world. Step 2 is your wife, who's a nurse, after year 7, says, I cannot do this anymore. The secondary trauma is wearing me out. Or you have a kid and you end up with twins and she says, I want to stay home. Or.
One of them has needs.
One of them's got special needs. You are hedging a 10-year bet. And I don't know if you know anything about the last 10 years. I'm not betting nothing except the turtle's going to win every single time. And I'm going to take the small step and the smart step. This is not a math problem. It's a psychology, and it's
Don't
a
try
spiritual.
To trick life with a math formula.
Yeah.
You're going to get your face smacked off. Don't do it.
Pay it off. 3 years, man. 3 years.
3 years. You need to be debt-free in 3 years, and then move on with your life.
Life is full of firsts. As the first first and longest-serving Christian health cost-sharing ministry, CHM has shared medical expenses for its members since 1981. We believe you should have the freedom to focus on your health while being supported by a community of believers, giving you the opportunity to create many more firsts.
Dr. John Deloney, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Jordan and Andrea are on the line in Canada. I see on my screen you guys are debt-free. Congratulations.
Hi, thank you. We are.
Way to go. How much have you paid off?
We have paid off $129,575 in 26 months.
Woo! And your range of income during that time?
We started at $60,000 and we are at about $135,000 now.
60 to 135. So did somebody get a job that didn't have one? How do you double your income in 2 years?
Yes, we were on a single income while my husband went 1,500 kilometers away to school. I supported both of us on one income, and then he came home from school, and he has been crushing it ever since.
Love it.
Wow. Got a new job.
What's his degree in?
He is a funeral director.
In what? What's a field director?
Funeral director.
Oh, funeral. Oh. Yeah. I thought, what field is he directing?
In what?
Okay.
In funerals.
Yes,
funerals,
that would be the field, yes.
That's
okay.
right.
Yeah. Okay. And what do you do?
I'm a nurse.
Awesome.
Wow.
And what was the debt, the $130,000?
Oh, you name it. We were totally normal. We had a truck, we had a lease, a pension buyback from maternity leave. We had financed a water system for our house, student loans, credit cards, line of credits.
You guys were like normal.
Totally normal.
Wow.
We're happy to be weird now.
What was the wake-up call that got you so intense to knock this out so quickly?
For me, Jordan was away at school, and he had about 3 weeks left in school, and we had burned through all of our savings. And I said, you got to come home and work. And he only had 3 weeks left. And that was just our absolute rock bottom. And I was so blessed to have a friend named Sarah on Instagram who she took the time to sit down with me and do a FaceTime call and teach me how to budget and use the Every Dollar app. And then I got started. We read Financial Peace and Total Money Makeover, and we never looked back. And
you made it through the 3 weeks alive, huh?
Yeah, he almost didn't, but we did.
Wow.
So earlier today, we took a call from somebody who is interested in playing a finance game with about a very similar debt number to yours for about a decade to 20 years. On the other side of having this all paid off, put into words what it feels like to not owe anybody anything.
Relieving.
Yeah, it's all the money that we have is our money, and we can do whatever we want with it. And it's a huge weight off our shoulders. It's so hard to put into words the type of emotions and feelings that we have. But that would be the best that we could put into words. Is it's just absolutely unbelievable, and such a big relief for our family.
The horrible part of your story is also the most beautiful part of your story. It's when you completely emotionally hit the wall at that 3 week mark, and 3 weeks from him coming home, and what that does is you will never go back.
Never.
Because of that feeling in your chest versus now there's not an elephant standing on your chest anymore.
That's right. And, no regrets. I'm so happy that This happened to us when we were in our 20s, and now we can move forward. It would have been nicer to happen in our teens when we could have learned and moved forward a lot quicker, but no regrets. Just so blessed and so thankful that we were able to come across you and your team. It's just been unbelievable.
$130,000 paid off in 26 months. People are listening going, okay, what did they do? What do you do? What's the key?
What's the key for you?
Sticking with it.
Yeah, sticking with it. It was the hardest but most gratifying process. The hardest part for us was getting started. Like with anything else, getting started, educating ourselves, and getting that written budget down. It was a whirlwind, but it was worth every stressor, every every transaction we made, putting that in that app. I still do that daily. I was just doing that before this call. Not a day goes by that we don't track our budget. It's an absolute must.
Amen. Amen.
Jordan, what about your current line of work where you're a director?
What's that, sorry?
What about that line, your new line of work, puts a little bit of urgency into the everyday?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely different than what I'm used to, but it was a welcome change, and along with new financial responsibilities, it really molded together nicely.
But you get a ringside seat into knowing at the end of the day where this all ends, right? You're a funeral director, and so the folks I know in that world tend to have a little bit better grasp of the importance of every moment of every day of the relational costs, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we're all going to end up in the same place, so.
Yeah. Yeah. Way to go,
you guys are studs, man.
You guys are amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I suspect the second part of your sentence a while ago on Andrea is the very hard to get started, but then every month and every debt that went away, it got easier and easier and easier to where the whole thing like was on a curve, to where it went from very hard to ridiculously in a zone.
Yeah, absolutely. And, now it's become a hobby. Now it's not challenging. It's habitual. We do it every day. We talk about it every day, every transaction. And now it's just life, and it's amazing.
Yeah, it's part of the who's going to pick up the kids and where's the money.
Yeah, absolutely. And where does it go?
Yep, that's it. Tell me where it went. That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
I love it. You guys are amazing.
Yeah,
well, we've got a copy of The Legacy Journey for you, because that's for sure. You've changed your legacy, and that's the next chapter in your story. You're going to be off to the land of millionaire now and beyond, and infinity and beyond. It's the Buzz Lightyear of finance. So, yeah, you're on your way. And also a copy of the Total Money Makeover for you to give to someone, like the friend gave you her time and love off of Instagram to step onto Every Dollar budgeting app and help you get going on that. Very well done. So, great job.
Thank you so much.
Jordan and Andrea from Canada, $130,000 paid off in 26 months, making $60 to $135. Count it down. Let's hear a debt-free scream.
Ready? 3, 2, 1. We're debt-free!
Yeah! I love it. Wow.
You couldn't have lined those numbers up, Dave, between that and the last call.
Oh, yeah.
Or a few calls ago, right?
Almost the exact same income and the exact same amount of debt.
And his wife was a nurse, and it lines up.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got one person trying to finagle the math between 10 and 2 decades now, 10 years or 2 decades, or somebody who had that call, right?
It's just, it's a good warning for all of us that are math nerds that are really good with math. Is a wonderful blessing, but it causes you to try to hide the pea under the shell. And think you can, and we have a little bit of arrogance in our approach to it, that we think we can do it.
Because the math works with a calculator.
The regular math guy can't do that, but I think I can hide this pea. But the stinking pea's under one of those shells. That's a problem. It's just a street game at the end of the day. So, yeah, it's tough. This is The Ramsey Show. Dr. John Deloney, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. In the third hour, we're going to be talking to business owners and leaders for an EntreLeadership Theme Hour. If you have a business question, go ahead and email Kelly right now, and she will put you into that hour. Oh, you can just call? Call. Oh, okay. Just call in now. If you can get through, the lines are full. But anyway, if you get in, she'll get you set up for that third hour if you've got a business question. The phone number, 888-825-5225. A couple of other show notes and things that are going on. We're continuing to do shows about America's, what one guy calls America's greatest legalized fraud, timeshares. And yesterday I took calls for an hour from people. The stories are just, they're humorous because they're so freaking ridiculous.
Give me one.
Like a Saturday Night Live skit. So if you're a timeshare owner or a former timeshare owner and you'd like to take this survey, we're doing some research on the industry. Text timeshare to 33789, timeshare to 33789. And if you want to participate in our next timeshare show, meaning you want to tell your story about your interaction with the timeshare business, let 20 million plus people hear your story. We'd love to have you do that. You can, again, use the email daveonair@ramseysolutions.com. Put timeshare in the subject line. Put a little bit about what's going on and your phone number, and Kelly will call and set up. We don't tell you what to say, but we need to get you scheduled for that particular hour.
So tell me what you heard. Tell me one.
So the funniest one was the guy who, I think the timeshare was in the Virginia area, if I remember right. And the guy came running in to do the presentation, a room full of people, late, and jumped up on stage and goes, I don't even know what I'm doing. The guy that's supposed to do this isn't here, and so I'm going to be your guy, which is a complete bit.
Oh, right? It was part of the gig.
Yeah, it's part of a bit.
Okay.
And he's talking about how if you love your family, you will bring them on vacation, because families that do vacations, they stick together, and it's a loving act. And if the only people who don't take their family on vacations just don't love their families. And while he's saying this, his phone rings, and he answers the phone while he's on stage, and it's his mother who's getting chemo, and she's calling in.
No way.
Not his mom at all. Just another bit. And so, it's just like, this is like a Saturday Night Live skit. This is like something you would like. So Chris Farley
how does
in
that
a van
work?
Down by the river.
How does that work?
How does what work?
I'm writing a book right now. You looked at an early part of it, and there's a true story in there, and you say the way that true story lines up metaphorically is almost too good to be true. And so you and I are reading this, like, I experienced this. We're reading it, but we both see it coming 100 miles away. Mm-hmm. How does somebody in an audience
not realize this bozo?
Come on, man.
Well, the guy calling, he said, my wife and I are at the back laughing, rolling our eyes. But he said there are people buying every bit of it. They're like a bass on the hook, baby. I mean, anything that's shiny, you go for it, right? And so,
wow.
Yeah, it's the old, was it W.C. Fields or Barnum one? P.T. Barnum says, sucker's born every minute.
That's right.
I think, let me show you a little swampland in Florida here, baby.
And I guess you've got
modern day swampland in Florida is called timeshare. That's what it is. That's what it's called. And why do you go? The one that I can't figure out, anybody of any level of naivete, why you actually go and spend 5 hours with these slimy people trying and think you're going to get out of there with your skin intact.
Me and my closest friends, after about 2.5 hours, were like, "Hey, that's enough of you."
Yeah.
I can't do 5 hours.
I'm just like, and I had a granola bar and an orange juice, and my blood sugar's getting low. I'm getting ready to kill something here, and it may be you. But it's like, yeah. But people do it. They do it. Anything for a free something, and that's what it is. I'll give you a free pass to the zoo if you'll go in the tiger cage and pet the tiger for 3 hours.
So one of the things,
and pray you don't get eaten, right? But you get to go to the zoo if you live through it.
I used to do when I talked to parents of new students coming into college. I would say, "Hey, and your kids get free counseling, And by free, I mean you give me $120,000 and they can have 12 free sessions a year. And so if you give me $100,000, you can come to my house and use my laundry machines for free laundry if you want. So if you are thinking about a timeshare, how about this? You give me a quarter of your annualized investment, and I'll let you come stay at my house for a few weekends a year. How about that? That's a good trade. I'm in.
Careful, somebody will email you.
I know they will.
Now.
I guarantee you they will.
Chris is in Los Angeles. Hey, Chris, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Good. How can we help?
Awesome. So I'm single. I'm in my late 30s. I'm in baby steps 4 through 6. I've not been contributing to my 401k for the past 14 months because I was out of work and just piling up cash from unemployment and severance. Fast forward, used a bunch of Ken Coleman's resources for resumes, interviews, landed a new job. And so I've restarted my 401k Roth contributions now that I'm working again.
Way to go.
My question is, awesome. Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. Ken's resources are awesome. If you're looking for a job, everyone should check that out. So.
Thank you.
So my question is, should I increase my contribution amount above the recommended 15% to help make up for the 14-month gap, or just keep it at 15% and just focus on the road ahead?
That's a great question.
Well, neither answer is in the dumb column, okay? Because in either case, you're going to be in great shape, right?
Yep.
So the way I look at it is this. You did exactly what you were supposed to do. You piled up cash and stopped your baby steps to survive the storm. And now we're pushing play again, which is 15% of your income towards retirement, and taking care of kids' college if that's applicable, and paying off the house. Baby step 6. Do you owe money on your house?
I'm renting right now,
Okay,
so I'm
this
in the
money
LA market. So
this pile of money might be your down payment fund then, and it can sit there for a little while until you're ready to buy. You don't have to buy today, but that's until when you're ready to buy. It's still sitting there. So here's the thing. If you understand this idea, it'll tell you it doesn't matter which one you do. But it doesn't matter if you don't do an additional. I wouldn't do an additional. I'd just keep it at 15. Here's why. You're not going to be in baby steps 4, 5, 6 for the rest of your life. You're only going to be in 4, 5, and 6 until the house is bought and paid off, at which point you will escalate. You will no longer be doing baby step 4, 15%. You're going to max out all retirement at that point to keep the government's hands off of it, and you're going to increase your investing because you're going to be in baby step 7. You'll increase your generosity. You'll increase your investing because that's what baby step 7 is: build wealth and give. And so, there's better than half of your remaining working years will not include a house payment, and you will be doing much more than 15%. So it doesn't really matter if you go to 20% now, because you're still going to be over there in that baby step 7 land investing way more than 15% in the back half of this story, to where you're going to be just fine. So I wouldn't. I would just stay at 15%, and I'd let that money you piled up, I would hold it aside for a down payment above your emergency fund, and then just keep moving right along. And then when you buy the house, your next goal is to get the house paid off. And when you do that, you're at baby step 7. And then the 15% no longer applies.
Yeah. I love that question.
It's a really good, thoughtful thing. But the thing that we all have a tendency to do with the baby steps or anything else is we say, okay, if I invest 15% of my income for 30 years, well, you're really not going to do that.
You're going to invest 15% until you're done.
Because your income is going to change.
Right.
So, and we don't know what, but it's most of the time, most people's life, it's going to go up. Okay. It may go down and then go up, but it's going to, the average, the trend line is going to be upward. So we don't know exactly how to project that. So if you run your numbers at 15% only on only today's income, you're more than okay there. But guess what? It's all upside from that. That's right. Because you're when you get out the backside, you're not going to be doing 15% anymore. I love it. B, your income's going to go up. So it just doesn't work out in linear fashion. That puts this hour of the Ramsey Show in the books. Our thanks to John Deloney, my co-host, James Childs, our producer, and Kelly Daniel, our associate producer. have a friend or family member that needs a daily dose of Ramsey advice in their life? Let them know about the Ramsey Call of the Day podcast. It's a quick hit of advice about life and money in under 10 minutes. Check out the Ramsey Call of the Day podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Dollar Car Rental Studios, it's the Ramsey Show, where debt is dumb, cash is king, and the paid-off home mortgage has taken the place of the BMW as the status symbol of choice. I'm Dave Ramsey, your host. Thank you for joining us. Dr. John Deloney, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. He is the host of the Dr. John Deloney Show, where he answers questions about mental health, relationships, boundaries, anxiety, and other things that are going on. The show is it's a wonderful success, and if you want to participate in his show, you can email him at askjohn@ramseysolutions.com with a question for that show, or leave a voicemail, and Kelly and the team will get back to you. They produce that show. The number is 844-693-3291. Buddy's here today if you want to talk to him, and the phone number here is 888-825-5225, 888-825-5225. Courtney is with us in Battle Creek, Michigan. Hi, Courtney. How are you?
Hi, I'm well. How are you?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
So I'm a family medicine PA. I've been working in private practice, and I am in a leadership role right now, but could foresee possibly an opportunity to buy into the practice maybe within the next 5 years or so. So I guess I'm just hoping for some advice on potentially how to save up to buy into the practice, and also kind of what to consider financially and personally making that big of a decision.
Well, this situation and a law firm are the two times that I have seen what is effectively a partnership work. Most of the time in business, partnerships don't work. We always, when we're dealing with entree leadership team in business setting, we just tell them the only ship won't sail is a partnership. So, but you do have, even though the vast majority of these medical partnerships do work, they work because you've got very, very clearly delineated rights and responsibilities and processes for death, disability, whatever, default, whatever happens, any of the D's that happen, you guys, they probably have very good agreement structure, and that's what helps them to survive. So, but you do want to learn about all of that. So kind of think about what are the worst case scenarios on everything, and how is that addressed?
Okay.
When a partner dies that's bought in, what happens? When they go through a divorce, what happens? When they go, when they don't pay or do their part, when they're no longer interested in showing up for work, disinterest. So disinterest, divorce, disability. They lose the ability to come to work. What happens to their shares, your shares? How do you get paid or not get paid? What is your requirement to participate? And so it is a bunch of D's. It's divorce, death, disability, disinterest, default, drug use. You know, all these, what are all the stupid people tricks people can do? Dummy?
Yeah, every once in a while a partner just
is a dumb one.
Yeah, it's just,
yeah,
you
sometimes
just got
you just get a dumb one. Okay.
I'm just trying to think of a good deal to jump in here.
Feel free, John. So, but that, you know, but my guess is when you do investigate that and understand it, you're probably going to find it's probably well thought out. Where in most two guys opening a heat and air store, a heat and air company, it's never thought out. And so that's where the disasters all come from. But you guys are in a world that's very well developed in that area. So that's thing one. Thing two is the way you save up is you say, this is so important, I'm going to save up. I mean, I'm going to treat this like I'm paying off my house. I'm going to pile up cash so fast, and we're going to live on nothing so that when this opportunity comes, I can write the check because I'm not going into debt to do it. I'm not going into debt to do it.
Yeah, absolutely not.
So, and then the last thing is that it is what the voting and governance structure is, because you're going to be a minority shareholder. You're not going to have the ability to vote by yourself and tell everybody what to do because you don't have 51%. And how the voting process or the governing process works here, because you do not have the ability to just stop something. You don't have a trump card. You don't have you can't just stop bad things from happening, and they're happening where you just paid X number of hundreds of thousands of dollars to become a part of this, and you have no control.
Mm-hmm.
So that's it's very emotionally strenuous to be a minority shareholder, because you got really your life savings invested in something you can't control. And that's the dangerous part. And that's why I tell people not to do it, except in these situations. I have seen, I don't know what the percentages are, but the vast majority are successful. Mm-hmm. So versus other types of partnerships. So I'm not going to tell you not to do it. And were I in your shoes, I probably would do it, but with cash. And I just need to understand the secret to happiness is lowered expectations. I need to understand what happens in all the worst case scenarios, including me getting outvoted on something, because they want to take a political stance with this that I'm perpendicular to with our whatever procedure internally. We want to make a public statement that's perpendicular to my belief system. And now I'm part of it because I'm an owner in this.
Your name's on the building.
And I can't keep it from happening. Right. So those are the kinds of things you've got to kind of address. And if they're not written parts of the documents, at least set your own expectations on them, because when it turns sideways, I took this risk on.
Is there any rule of thumb for pricing out a buy-in like this? Is some net present value? It's an NOI thing, in net operating income. So the income of the practice after everybody's been paid is what the shareholders divvy up. Mm-hmm. And so what are you getting on average if you own 1/5 of the practice? It's $500,000. I'm gonna get $100,000. Okay, so what am I gonna pay for that? Usually not more than $300,000 or $400,000. So you're gonna look out just 3 to 5 years.
Yeah, you're gonna break even in 3 years probably, and a lot of them break even faster than that.
Okay.
Because there's a sense that they want to keep her because she's become such an integral part of the practice, and so they're letting her buy in at sometimes 50% of what a stranger would buy in.
Okay.
Because you want those partners all knit together.
Gotcha.
Because it's golden handcuffs then.
Yeah, then she can't just walk away.
Well, she can, but it'd be ludicrous financially. It becomes golden handcuffs. So for that reason, they're usually priced very good for the buyer.
Gotcha.
Very good, usually.
Very cool situation to be in.
Yeah, it is. Again, it's an anomaly in business that the medical partnerships.
But it's important you just said that you don't pay off the front end line. You pay off what has trickled through down to the shareholder, to the owners.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the way all partners gets from profit. Right. So that's where we are. Dr. John Deloney, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. I'm Dave Ramsey.
Hey folks, I got a great option to help you pay for your education. The Army National Guard. The Army National Guard believes you are the next greatest generation because you have proven that even in adversity, that you have what it takes to succeed. That's why they offer benefits like tuition assistance, career training, and a paycheck to help you avoid debt. No matter what your goals are, the Army National Guard can help you get there. Visit nationalguard.com to find out more.
Dr. John Deloney, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. If you're struggling to keep up with payments, you know what it's like to be so scared and overwhelmed you can't think straight. You don't have to live like that anymore. When you pay off your debt as fast as possible, you will never have that kind of stress again. And you'll have control of your most powerful wealth-building tool, your income, because you're not giving it to everyone else. You know where you do this? Financial Peace University. Almost 10 million people have been through this class, guys. And they learned how to pay off debt. They learn how to work together if they're married, take control of their money, start investing. You know, it is a proven thing. You can stream all 9 lessons right now, or you can get some extra support by going through the class with other people and you know, like live and in person. Remember when we did that? And the only way to get Financial Peace University, of course, is it's part of your Ramsey Plus membership. And, of course, your every dollar premium is a part of your Ramsey Plus membership. So that's the world's best budgeting app. So we're going to give you all the tools and the lessons and everything. But Financial Peace University gets you there. You can get rid of the debt that's holding you back. You can learn how to invest, learn how to be outrageously generous with a free trial for Financial Peace University at Ramsey Plus. Now, free trial of Ramsey Plus, text TRIAL to 33789. Text TRIAL to 33789. Our question of the day comes from Blinds.com. Find out for yourself why Blinds.com is the #1 online retailer anywhere of custom window coverings. This is an incredible company. Great Texas company, started out of a guy's garage. Jay is a friend of mine. He built the company up, and it still runs with his DNA. Good people. Free samples, free shipping, new promos they run all the time. Blinds.com. Use the promo code Ramsey to get the best deal.
So today's question comes from Victoria in Texas. Victoria writes, my fiance will finish his medical residency this year. He has $150,000 in student loans, $9,000 in credit card debt, and no emergency fund. When we first met, he always said that the best investment you could make is paying off your debt, but his priorities have now changed. He makes minimum payments on the credit card, deferred the student loans, and allocates the rest of his money, drumroll please, to cryptocurrency.
I have a little throw up in my mouth.
Isn't this crazy? He promises that he'll start paying off debt as soon as his residency ends, but it worries me that he prefers to invest in something that's risky rather than paying off his debt. Should I be concerned about this new obsession, or should I trust that he will eventually make his debt a priority? Man, so anytime somebody says, hey, this is an important thing for me, and you go, great, and then they change it on you, and they do something different, and then they say, hey, but next time, you can trust me. And then that changes again. Yes, you should be concerned about the integrity of the person that you're walking alongside. Yes, you should be concerned, I think. I absolutely do, actually. In fact, the more I think about this, the more frustrating this gets. Because you've got a scared fiance here, and you've got somebody who has some wisdom in one area of life.
I think you guys getting this straightened out prior to marriage is a deal breaker.
I agree.
And that's sitting down with your pre-marriage counselor and coming to terms with A, you're no longer aligned on how money is handled, and B, he's changed his mind. I'll tell you what I think has happened, and a good spanking in the marriage counselor's office will fix it, because he's going to get to choose between you and crypto, if you're my daughter. And so not because I hate crypto, but because of the way he's doing this in his whole process. So my experience of coaching is people with their finances, there are more broke doctors, medical doctors, than any other thing I run into. I mean, we see all the broke athletes or broke music people that make all their money and then they lose it all. But broke doctors hide it behind a BMW with a lease payment, right. And so people don't realize how bad their finances are. And when I've sat down with them over the years, they're unbelievably suck at how they handle their money.
And that's what I was about to say. There's an arrogance built in, right?
That's exactly why.
I can take a heart out, so surely I know.
Surely I can do cryptocurrency.
Right.
And so what I smell is a young medical student who took his class on I am now God, I'm a doctor, and I know everything. And so he got downloaded the arrogant download, and a good spanking in the therapist's office will fix that.
Or a good spanking in the market will fix it too.
Yeah, but I don't want to be attached to him.
I don't want him taking her down. That's
when
right.
you don't want to go down with the drowning guy here.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. It's not what he's doing, but why he's doing it that's the deal breaker. Because if I'm right, if he changed from his common sense when he was humble to now I'm arrogant, and so I can play things that other people can't play, and I will come out, which every time you play in a high-risk thing, that's involved.
Right.
You have to think you've got the edge on something that no one else does. I've got the ticket on this horse, so I can bet the farm at this horse race, and I've got an edge. And arrogance is what this is. It's pride. Pride comes right before the fall. Right. So that's what's the deal breaker, because when it's not crypto, it's going to be something else.
It's going to be a new lease
it's going to be another thing.
And
he's going to go buy into a pizza chain, and that's going to go broke. And then he's going to go buy fried pickles. And then he's going to because he's so freaking smart. Mm-hmm. That is a deal breaker.
Right.
Because you're going to live a life of bullcrap sucky decisions to bullcrap sucky decisions to bullcrap sucky decisions. Right. It's just going to be one after another until this pride is broken. I know this guy because I was him.
As was I. That's what I keep saying. Victoria, I am this guy, right? I know a lot of stuff about a really small area of the world.
This is how Dave Ramsey went broke. Because I am inordinately good with math. I can see things. I can see a deal. I can feel math when it's on a piece of paper. Mm-hmm. I'm not good at a lot of stuff, so I could walk into a real estate deal and ding, 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 and I can tell you today, 35 years later, exactly what I paid for that property, what we spent on it, and what I made on it. Those numbers are stored. I can't get them out of my head. I see them. They're on a chalkboard in my mind, And so because I thought I was all that, I went and built a dadgum house of cards, and it came crashing down on, guess what, my wife and my kids' head.
So I often find when I'm in one of these arrogant modes, or when I'm with folks like this, and I've spent a lot of times behind closed doors with medical folks, they can feel or sense that deal. They can't feel or sense the person they love sitting next to them in the driver's seat suddenly feeling like their lifeline just got cut, right?
Yep.
And yeah, I'm with you. The scary thing about this, Victoria, is this is a pattern that I've seen over and over and over and over.
So if he can become one of the smart doctors that is humble and realizes he's good at medicine and sucks at money and needs to do basic grandma common sense with money, if he can revisit that line, that's an indication he has become humble
and wise,
rather than prideful, right. And that is marriage material.
Yeah.
But it's not the detail of cryptocurrency versus paying off your student loans. That's not the detail. That's not the deal breaker. It's the why under it that is a reason not to marry this guy.
Absolutely.
Until you get this fixed. And so that's because you're signing up for a lifetime of heartache.
Yeah.
And crap falling down around your head. Because I tell you, the number of doctors who've earned 4 fortunes and only have one.
Yeah. With 3 wives too, right?
Yeah. And
2 husbands
when we do this stuff, when we're arrogant and we drag our families through the same thing.
Yeah.
And they get to go along for the ride. And I used to say, well, Sharon was really afraid when we were going through all this, and she would go, no, the word is terrified.
Yeah.
Not because of the situation, but because you kept doing it.
That's right.
Terrified. I terrified my wife, Victoria. You're terrified. I can see it on the page here. And you should be. This is The Ramsey Show. On the phone in Denver, Lane and Kaylee are with us. Hey, guys, how are you? Well, I guess if I pick up the phone, then I could talk to them. There we go. Hey, guys, how are you?
We're doing great. How are you?
Better than I deserve, man. I see on my screen you're debt-free. Congratulations. How much did you pay off?
We paid off $57,000.
All right. And how long did this take?
Congratulations.
It took 26 months.
Good for you. And your range of income during that time?
We started at $105,000, and currently we're at just over $135,000.
Good for you. And what kind of debt was this?
So we had 2 cars, a personal loan, 1 really big credit card, and cell phones.
Okay, cool. And what do you guys do for a living?
So I am a plumber, and Kaylee is a stay-at-home mom and does some property management on the side.
All right, very good.
Yes.
So how long you guys been married?
We've been married 12 wonderful years.
Wonderful. So what happened 2 years ago that was the wake-up call 26 months ago?
Yeah, we had taken financial peace shortly before 2 years ago, and it was really great class, and we were like, yes, we could do that, but we just couldn't figure it out. We would go to financial peace, and we'd go out to eat after, because we were like, we're so broke, so clearly that's what we should do, go out to eat, right? Well, then, just a couple months later, we were taking financial peace, and I went to file our tax returns, and we pull out all the W-2s, and I say, we make 6 figures. Did you know that? Lane's like, I didn't know that. But why are we so broke if we make 6 figures? So that was really what kind of kicked us into gear, filing those tax returns and saying we were making way too much money to be so broke.
A healthy level of disgust.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Good for you. Now, they just popped your family's picture up on the YouTube screen right here, and I saw it in the lobby. How many kids have you got?
We have 8 children, and we have a 9th on the way in October.
All right.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Way to go. So you fed 8 baby birds while you were doing this?
Yes, we did.
Wow. Because sometimes I hear people say on social media, well, now you can't do that Dave Ramsey stuff if you have a big family.
It's true. It's true. I actually admin a Catholic large family group on Facebook, and every time someone would talk about finances, I would hear a lot of people say, Dave Ramsey never works, or you'd hear the other half say, the only thing that works is Dave Ramsey. And then all of a sudden, all these large families started breaking off into these Facebook groups and saying, Dave Ramsey for large families, because really it is the only thing that works.
Yeah, well, I've heard the opposite, too. So, yeah, that's interesting. All right. Yeah, it's the only thing that works, period. Not Dave Ramsey, but these common sense principles. It's not me. But and the only thing that works is when you actually work. It's you guys are the heroes. I'm so proud of you. How's it feel to be free?
It feels amazing, honestly. For the first time in our life, we're, not struggling to pay bills or living paycheck to paycheck. And for myself, being, a dad of 8 and a husband of a wonderful wife, for me, it's just exhilarating to be debt free. Like it's so much weight lifted off my shoulders.
Yeah.
It's just been amazing.
So what does sacrifice look like in a large family? Because it looks like you did about $2,000 a month average through that 26 months, and meanwhile feeding 8.3 kids.
Yeah, it was really a lot of Lane using his trade, and really so many people of our friends and family who referred Lane and trusted him, and really just saying, whoever needs a sink or a toilet or a remodel or whatever needed to be done, Lane was just really, really great about going to work and then going to side job after side job and going to work. And his work was really fantastic about when all the lockdown and all of the quarantine things came in, their business actually picked up. They service a lot of restaurants. And so we were worried. We thought, restaurants, we are dead in the water. But there were a ton of restaurants who said, hey, all those big jobs that we never want to shut down our restaurant for, let's do those. And so he was able to stay really busy. And truly, every one of our friends and family who hired Lane and believed in him and referred him to their friends, they supported this journey, even if they didn't know it, because they supported a family instead of a business. And that was huge for us. He got so many referrals.
How did the kids participate in this?
Well, they were, they listened to a lot of podcasts in the car, not willingly. Sometimes, they get a lot of complaints sometimes, but, staying home a lot, eating at home was a big thing. Like Kay said, we like to eat out, and so eating at home was a huge change for them. So they were very gracious about it, though, and very,
they helped cook.
Yep.
So that when we were exhausted, they stepped up and helped cook so that we didn't order food or go somewhere. They were phenomenal.
And I'm just thinking of all of the generational shift that's just happened, not only with the debt profile, right? But now you've got a dad who works a hard manual job with demanding people who's going to come home a little less stressed. And you've got a marriage that's, a little over 10 years old with basically y'all are about a kid a year, right? That's a good turnover, right? And there's going to be a little less stress, and over time that's going to magnify. Now you got kids who know how to cook and work together and do fun things and enjoy each other's company. And you're talking about transforming a tree with a lot of roots on it, right?
Very cool.
It's not just paying off debt. Good for you guys.
Very cool.
Absolutely. Thank you.
One thing about most large families, it's not 100% true, but more so than small families, is the kids are not entitled. Because it's not an option.
It's very true. Yes, they learn to
it's
share.
Something as simple as we come out here to take pictures at the break. If there's one or two, sometimes the kids are running wild. Yeah. But if there's like 4 or 5,
it's like being with a military
they just walk
group.
right up there, like boom, they know how to assume the position for the picture. Boom, and they line up, right?
Because hands will come from everywhere and hit you. Right.
Straighten up. Yeah. So I'm sure they got on board. I'm sure they did, because you have to get on board just to stay sane in a house like this. This is awesome.
Absolutely.
I'm so proud. You guys are so impressive. What a neat family. What a great story. Well done. Well, thank you guys for going out there and winning. What do you tell people the key to getting out of debt is?
Sticking to a budget is huge.
Yeah, the budget's key.
Yes. I would say learning to suffer well as well.
Yeah, Lane was so great about suffering well. The kids really got to see him work really hard and never complain. And I was not always had such a good attitude as Lane did. And I could just tell, I was like, even I'm annoying myself even. Stop complaining. It's not doing any good. But the kids will really tell you that their dad suffers really well. He works really hard, and he's just the last person to ever complain or say anything negative. He just always keeps us all going.
And just made his year. Yeah. That's awesome to hear a wife say that about her husband. That's so cool. Well done.
It's interesting. Our 13-year-old daughter, she was really instrumental. She would color in all of the charts, and every time we'd get paid, where are we at? What are we doing? How much longer? And so I asked her this question, and she's 13 years old. And I asked her, what's the secret to getting out of debt? And she said, fortitude.
Oh.
And I thought that was really so good, and I thought I had to share that.
Touchdown. Yeah. All right, Lane and Kaylee and the team. $57,000 paid off in 26 months, make it 105 to 135. Count it down. Let's hear a debt-free scream.
3, 2, 1.
We're debt-free!
I love it! Wow.
It's incredible.
That's amazing. How impressive. Very nice. This is The Ramsey Show. John Deloney, Ramsey personality, best-selling author, is my co-host today. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Draylon is with us in Columbus, Ohio. Hey, Draylon, what's up?
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Better than we deserve, sir. How can we help?
Hey, so basically, I'm finally in a position now where I can save. I've been living paycheck to paycheck since I graduated 2 years ago. But the fact that I can save now, I have a car loan that is driving me crazy. My car loan, I have $10,900 left for this car loan, and it's a 16% interest rate. And I know that's pretty high.
Yeah.
But the reason I the reason I accepted it is because I didn't have any American credit at the time, right? So I figured after a year I can refinance it, but because I'm Canadian, by the way, I know that might have sounded a little bit weird, but I was going to refinance it, but I got approved for it based off my credit, but my employment history isn't long enough, so I just feel like I'm stuck. And
What do you make?
Save, but
What's your income?
So right now, it will be around $40,000.
Okay. And you're working 40 hours?
No, now I'm pushing it to around 50 hours a week.
For $40,000?
Yeah. So I just started in home renovation, and I'm in a laborer. So I'm at a pretty low position. I'm working my way up.
Okay. But you're paid by the hour?
15.
Yeah. You're paid so much an hour. So if you work more, you get more money.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, good. All right. Can you get any more hours?
Yeah, I can get a little bit more hours, but at the moment, I just made a partnership. I'm about to launch a landscaping company as well. So I'm going to have more income coming in through that.
Okay, good. Okay. And how old are you?
I'm 27.
Okay. Well, here's what I would do if I were in your shoes. I would say 16% every morning, me being charged 16% interest pisses me off.
Yeah.
And I stay mad all day.
Draylon, you said this is driving you crazy. It drives me crazy on your behalf.
Yeah, I'm just hearing it. I'm going crazy. So if that's the case, then I could make a pretend thing in my head and say, gosh, if I don't pay off $10,000 in 4 months, I'm going to die of a disease or something. I mean, what if you had to find $10,000 in 4 months to stay alive? You would find $10,000 in 4 months. You would work
100%.
Hundreds of hours, thousands of hours. You would not worry about anything except getting $10,000, right?
Yeah.
That's what I want you to do.
Okay. You wouldn't recommend selling the car?
I would recommend paying your car off in 4 months because all you do is work. And you don't have to worry. You're not going to die from hard work. Right before you die, you'll pass out. You're going to be fine.
Okay.
You're going to be fine. Because here's the thing. The good news is you did something really stupid. You did it at 27, so you have the whole rest of your life to never do that one again.
Yeah, okay.
And that's the way I look at me losing everything when I was 28 and bankrupting. There's a whole bunch of stupid stuff I did in that story that I spent the rest of my life not doing. And consequently have been able to become very wealthy after that. Yeah. Because if you can just not repeat the stupid stuff, that is an accomplishment for most people.
In 4 months, I like the idea, Dave, of putting a 16% in a marker on your mirror every morning.
Yeah, it's just because you're going to work like an absolute animal.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to but you can do anything for 4 months.
Especially when you're 27.
You can do anything for 4 months. It's not 4 years. It's not 40 years. I don't want you to be a workaholic. I don't want you to be out of balance with your life. I don't want you to lose Jesus and your kids and your family. I'm talking about 4 months.
Pay your car off. Yeah.
And then you reverse this ridiculous mistake because the car is not ridiculous. Now, if you told me you owed $30,000 on the car and you made $40,000, I'd be going, dude, sell the car. Yeah. That's just nuts. But it's not that expensive a car as a percentage of 40.
It's just this glaring Well, idiot.
Yeah.
Right? It just reminds you
I
every
hate
morning.
stuff that reminds me of my stupidity. It's like I get an email every morning. You're stupid. I hate stuff like that, and it would drive me bananas. And so, yeah, that's how I want you to let this become a healthy, righteous anger that causes you to drive through this 4 months and clean this mess up. And that's how I would do it if I can't work up in your shoes. Kyle is with us. Kyle's in Amarillo. Hi, Kyle. How are you?
Hi, I'm good.
Good. How can we help?
So my question was, how does a spender learn how to get in the habit of saving? Just because I love to spend, I have a habit of just spending and spending and spending. And since now that I'm 19, I got to get in the habit of saving while I'm young instead of keeping that habit of spending.
Okay. Well, I'm a spender too, so I can relate to that. Are you a spender or a saver? You're a spender.
I'm a spender.
You're a spender. Yeah, Sheila's a saver. Yeah. So there's a couple of things. You need a reason to do it, a why. And right now you don't really have a reason other than this feels like it's wrong. But when I went broke and I had to learn, okay, I know I'm not a natural saver, but saving money seems wise versus being broke, which is kind of what you're saying, Kyle, right? And so how do I do that? Well, what I figured out was most spenders, too, by the way, are generous. Are you fairly generous?
Yes, I love being generous.
Okay. So what I figured out is if I invest and save, I have more money to spend and more money to be generous with. So it's like I have a reason now to save and to systematically save to become wealthy because I can increase my generosity and I can increase my enjoyment with spending.
Yeah.
And so I can spend now and not think anything about it versus spending and having this like financial hangover the next morning, wake up with a headache and go, what did I do last night?
Right. Practically speaking, Kyle, there's been seasons in my marriage where I literally give my debit card to my wife because I take cash and put it in my wallet. So when it's gone, it is gone.
You set yourself a system to protect you from you.
I put barriers in front of me until it's like bumper lanes at the pool. And I mean, when you're bowling, I'm sorry, not the pool, when you're bowling, so that I can learn. I need these guardrails. And that's me as a grown-up. I should know better.
With a PhD in psychology, by the way.
I've got to put some barriers in front of me so that I can get myself back on track.
Put systems in your life that help you stay tuned to your goal.
Right.
And, and so, okay, my goal is I want to be a spender. That's who I am. But I want to do that with wisdom.
Right.
And my goal is I want to be a saver. So what do you do what has to be true to cause that to happen? And, an example would be an auto draft out of your checking account directly into a mutual fund that automatically saves for you. See, that's a system that turns you into a saver because you might not remember to do it.
It's why you tell people to cut up their credit card so you can't.
Right. Chop them up.
That's right.
Plastic surgery.
The same thing works for your marriage, right? I got a few buddies that 100% of the time they call, I know they're going to ask, hey man, how's your marriage? How y'all doing? And it's an accountability. It's a check-in. How are things going? I know that's going to happen every time we call, right?
Yeah.
And so it's setting up those systems in your life that none of us are perfect. Not all of us are trying to figure it out. But I know where I want to go, so I know I've got to have these accountability systems in my life.
I'm so much of a spender that I used to think when you were leaving Costco or Sam's and they check your receipt that they were checking to see if you really spent $200.
No, you want to know if you won that day.
Would you check see if I won? Is this scratch off?
Is this the biggest one? Is this the biggest one today? And they're like, no, Dave, sorry.
I gotta go, but because if you don't spend $200, they point the finger back into the building and go get the 6 gallons of mustard.
There was a family of 9
You need
that beat
6
you
gallons
earlier,
of mustard.
Dave.
Everyone needs 6 gallons of mustard, and you're not up to your $200. Go back in there. 5 gallons of peanut butter, 55-gallon oil drums full of peanut butter. Oh, this is the Ramsey Show.
This is James Childs, producer of The Ramsey Show. Did you know The Ramsey Show is one of the most popular podcasts in the world? Subscribe or follow today wherever you listen to podcasts.
This is The Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Dollar Car Rental Studios, it's The Ramsey Show, where debt is dumb, cash is king, and the paid-off home mortgage has taken the place of the BMW as the status symbol of choice. This is an Entree Leadership Theme Hour. What that means is we're going to be talking to business owners and business leaders all across America. Questions about your business, how to operate it, issues, problems, even the mental health issue having to do with leadership. It's a bit of a strain for the last 18 months for sure. Leaders have been through hell in American business, and for that matter, around the world. And, if you're facing that, Dr. John Deloney joins me this hour, and Ramsey personality, and of course, host of the Dr. John Deloney Show, where we talk about mental health issues. And
So man, Dave, we went to Summit, which is the premier business leader event that we put on, right?
Right.
And
by the way, the phone number here, 888-825-5225. If you've got a question about business, particularly in that zone, we're going to kind of concentrate on that zone, but we'll take your questions about anything. 888-825-5225. So, yeah, we go to Entree Leadership Summit, which is one of the premier leadership events in the world. It is ours, but it is legitimately top of the shelf.
Right.
And the best speakers, the best teachers in the world on leadership and on business show up there. And, of course, I spoke there. Of course, you spoke there this year. It was a pretty incredible event.
Yeah, it was really remarkable. And a lot of that, is about strategy and how to run your business and how to use data and how to hire and fire, those important business things. How do you operate this thing? And then who are you when you're running it? And man, I took a little bit different track and just want to talk about, behind a business owner is just a dad, right? Just a guy trying to run a business and raise his kids and be a community member, or I'm just a woman who's trying to keep her household duct taped together, and then all of a sudden their community says you're not allowed to go to work anymore, and she's got 9 employees. And I've been overwhelmed just with the response to I'm trying to balance all of this stuff, and man, I'm carrying around stuff that from when I was a kid, when somebody told me, hey, you're a loser, you're not going to work, it's not going to work for you. And suddenly I look up and I got 17 employees. Whoa, I'm a business leader now? What's that supposed to mean? And how do I manage this and manage this and manage that? And then this guy comes in and says he's quitting and she's leaving, and it's a lot for everybody. And you said it best. It's been absolute hell. And one of the things, I got a cohort of mental health professionals across the country that we interact with each other. We talk, and I'll call and ask them questions. Am I seeing stuff right? And we were talking that 2020 was really like taking a 2-liter bottle and just shaking it up. And there was 2 things that were going to happen. People were going to be open that top slowly and let that air out, or they were just going to pop the top on that sucker. And here we are 7 months later, after 2021 is kicked off, and everybody's out of gas. They got nothing left, man. And then we are not even done with the year yet, right?
Yeah.
We're just watching people fall apart.
Yeah, the fact that we're all human beings and we all carry our stripes, we all carry our scars.
Yeah.
As you talked about in that talk, every time you have trauma, it's anything, little trauma is a pebble all the way up to major trauma is a brick in your life. And if you don't unpack your backpack and you carry all those bricks and traumas around, and then, by the way, just go ahead and have a 2020.
Right.
And yeah, people are just on their knees.
Even in 2018, you still got employee nonsense.
Yeah, I mean, you still had all that, but somehow you could function through all that. But you were on your last nickel of energy lasting that your tank is you're using up, but then let's just go ahead and put another weight on it.
Right.
And try to shut the whole freaking thing down.
So we talk about this on this Ramsey Show, and you've just done like a shapeshifter event over the last 25 years, talking to people about the margin in their life financially.
Mm-hmm.
If you are leveraged out, that the other end of that fulcrum comes due someday, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the same thing works relationally, and the same thing works with your body, right?
You got no margin.
That's right.
It's just it's sandpaper on sandpaper.
That's right, man. Bone on bone. Yeah.
And it's just going to grind, and so if you're a leader that is honest with yourself, including me,
mm-hmm.
That's what it's been this year.
Yeah.
It's like I was doing pretty good leading,
mm-hmm.
But then it put another 1,000 pounds on your back,
mm-hmm.
and you look at this and you go, I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
Yeah, right. And then that, you know what? It's the craziest thing, Dave, because then the voice of that coach comes back from 20 years ago and says, I told you so. Or that employee that left 11 years ago and wrote that letter to you.
Mm-hmm.
They say, and you're this kind of person. And you go,
you are evil after all. See, now it's proven.
Right?
Yeah.
And you start finding proof of your own hurts everywhere you look, right? And so, yeah, give us a call, 888-825-5225, man. We'd love to talk to you.
888-825-5225. Steve is with us in Des Moines. Hey, Steve, welcome to an Entree Leadership Theme Hour. What's up?
Hey, thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
What's
going on?
So my situation is I'm a 22-year-old realtor, and I've been in the business for about a year and a half now. And through the start of my new career, I have been experiencing some new levels of stress that I just haven't experienced before. And I don't know how to deal with this stress, and it's starting to take some negative physical effects on my body.
Yeah.
Usually does.
Yeah, the body's a remarkable ledger book. It reminds you that you're overdue in some areas. So I just started laughing when you said you started your business as a realtor a year and a half ago. I'm trying to think of an analogy. That's like saying I got into the aviation business and they put you on the rocket to Mars as your first trip, right? So how's it been, man?
It's a pretty brutal business to get in. At the time that I did, the market is just full of realtors in my area, so it's pretty difficult to penetrate, but things have really been picking up for me at the start of Q2 of this year. But before that, paychecks were really few and far between.
What's going on with your body when you say I'm experiencing stress? My body's starting to pay the price for me. What does that mean?
So I've been losing sleep, losing appetite, and losing weight. I have trouble breathing at times, and I've experienced some digestive issues as well.
So what's that all mean? I'm smiling because, I don't know about you, Dave. I've been there too. Like, what is your body trying to tell you, my man?
Well, I think it's telling me that I'm put in some positions that I've never dealt with before, but I feel like I just have to fail in order to figure it out. I'm scared to fail. And
hey, let's do this, Steve. Hang on, and we're gonna
hang on. We'll talk to you a little bit more after this break. This
Yeah.
commercial's bearing down on us, and
great question.
Got to pay our bills around here because we're debt free and all, So, this is the Ramsey Show.
What makes our show unique is that we genuinely care about our listeners. We're intentional about choosing the best advertisers to recommend. Blinds.com is no exception. They offer high-quality window treatments at unbelievable prices, and they make it simple to shop blinds, shades, and interior shutters with easy online ordering, free shipping, and a guaranteed perfect fit. Go to Blinds.com and take advantage of this week's special savings.
Entree Leadership Theme Hour as we talk about business, small business, and leadership. And one of the things we're talking about is the mental health aspects of leadership, the things that we all deal with. And we're talking with Steve in Montana, or no, I'm sorry, in Des Moines, rather. And going into the break, he was describing to us he's a new real estate agent, and the stress associated with that has started showing up in his body. He's losing weight, digestive issues, can't sleep, those kinds of things. Is that a fair summary of what you told us so far, Steve?
Yep, that's correct.
So, man, what's stressing you out? What about the job is stressing you out?
Yeah, so I've identified about 3 things. The first one is that I have a serious desire to move out of my parents' house, but I feel like I'm not generating enough income to make that possible. The second one is that I can't relax in social settings because I'm too worried about my work, and I feel that I'm nervous that a client's going to call me, and I'm not present at the dinner table or with a friend. And lastly, I'm still learning everything that it is to be the best realtor I can be, but I've incurred a lot of failures recently, and I replay those failures in my head a lot.
How old are you?
I take them very personally. 22.
When you say you've experienced a lot of failures, what do you mean?
Well, I think I probably blow it out of proportion, and I make it more than what it is. But I guess, like, I think I said the wrong thing in front of a client, and now they don't trust me, or I said the wrong thing, and now they're not going to want to work with me anymore.
Gotcha.
And
so, brother,
I have had that happen before, but I think I'm blowing it up a little bit.
Yeah.
No, you probably did it.
Yeah, you screwed up, but it's not the end of time, right?
Yeah, you're not going to die from it. But, I mean, I got my real estate license when I was turned 18. And I can tell you some serious butt stories of some of the stupid crap I said and lost deals between the time I was 18 and the time I was 24.
Or, Steve, the first time I did radio was on this show. And you want to know about saying the wrong thing and feeling the radiant heat from Dave Ramsey next to you.
Oh,
I'm just kidding. It was a love heat.
You bless your little heart.
So, hey, Steve, here's the thing. You are in 100% fight or flight, and when you do that, your brain has one detective mechanism. Where's the threat? And it begins to identify everything as a threat. And you can't sit down, you can't sit still, you can't enjoy anything, and then your body won't let you sleep because that's time that somebody could be sneaking up on you. It just starts to loop on you real quick, right? So a couple of things you identified here. You're not making enough money, man, right? You're running and running and running, and you're not making enough money. And then when you finally get around somebody, you overdo it because you're so tightly wound up. And the one thing that's going to help you be well and whole, which is hanging out with friends and laughing and putting the business down, you're not letting yourself do.
Yeah, so, it's like right. you couldn't get a date, and you finally got one, and you were so excited you screwed the date up.
Right. And then when you're surrounded by potential future dates, you're just staring at your phone hoping other dates call, and you miss the whole thing, right?
So I agree. There's 2 things pop into my head, and you see if this matches what you're saying, John. One is there's a reality to your situation. You are 22 years old, and you live with your parents, and you're trying to convince someone to do a real estate deal. Okay? Yeah. Neither one of those things are evil, living with your parents or being 22 years old. Or being 22 years old and living with your parents. Any one of those 3 possible mixes are not evil. My point is that if you're competing with someone who's got exactly the same knowledge and experience in real estate that you have, but they're 52, you're going to lose. Mm-hmm. Because the guy's going to, I don't mean this mean or anything, but the guy buying the house is going to look and go, I'm not going with the kid. I'm going with the old dog. And that's assuming everything's equal. Now, if you're better, you can whip the 52-year-old's butt and get the deal, right? But you got to be better to do that. But you are starting because you're young in a very expensive commodity business. You're starting at a deficit. You're starting with an uphill climb. That's a reality, and that's okay. I told you I got my license when I turned 18, and I sucked, and I still made some sales. in spite of that. And I worked my way all the way through college, selling real estate, selling residential real estate. So when I was your age, I was still selling real estate and coming out of college. So I'm not saying you can't do it, but having been there, I mean, it's hard for you to imagine me being 22, but I mean, just Magnum PI, big mustache, disco suit, because it was the only suit I had. And so John Travolta meets Magnum PI, sells real estate at 19 years old, knocking on your front door to list your house. I mean, and yet I still talk some people into it.
That's right.
So can it be done? Yes, it can be done. But it from personal experience, it's a climb. Now, that's thing one. Then thing two is the reason I get in that situation loads of anxiety is everything I become a drama queen. I turn everything into life or death because I don't have good perspective because I think that one deal, oh God, I messed up that one thing, and I turn it into a big mountain instead of a molehill. And if you pan back and you go, in the scope of life, this next 18 months is probably not going to define me.
Yeah.
And that allows you to chill a little bit. So, but I'm with John. If you were making $300,000 a year, you wouldn't have called us.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
So this is a stress brought on by not succeeding enough to make an income. You probably need a secondary career to get some money coming in.
Yeah, and that's one of the cornerstones, man, when someone is completely frazzled out like you. And man, I've been there, is you got to be real honest with yourself.
It's a great call,
gut check,
Steve.
right?
It's
yeah.
great. Listen, I think you're a whole lot better than you keep telling yourself you are, but you are also in an uphill climb.
Right.
That's a reality.
For a season, right?
That's a fact.
Yeah. So, hey, a couple quick things. Take care of your body. Make sure you're exercising, eating right, man, and sleeping. Do what you got to do. If you're hanging out with your friends, turn off your stinking phone. Lose a text message if you're going to spend a couple hours with folks. And I know it sounds crazy. You got to. Like Dave said, get a mentor, get somebody who's been doing this for a while that will go to coffee. You can buy them coffee, and it's just going to give you some perspective. And the final thing here, talk to yourself kindly. Be graceful with yourself, man. The last thing Steve needs is Steve beating up Steve.
Peter is in Olympia, Washington. Hey, Peter, welcome to an Entree Leadership Theme Hour. How can we help?
Hey, thanks for having me on the show. I appreciate that a lot.
Sure.
Hey, Dave, I have a question here. I run a small, medium-sized company. I started this company when I was 18 years old. Now, 7 years later, we're running. We're going strong. I ran into you about a year ago, but thankfully I never did have any debt with my business. So debt, so to speak, right? I use credit cards for my employees. But, of course, I pay the balance off every month. And I'm not so concerned about the credit card points because
what are they buying?
What you said. Material supplies at different vendors, Home Depot supplies, So
what's your question?
My question is, how do I run my business for my employees without giving them credit cards?
Mine have debit cards.
But what about just pulling out of your checking account?
Well, that's what it does. If you're going to pay it off at the end of the month anyway, you have the money, right?
Yeah, they would have them.
No, you would. If you're going to pay off the credit card that your employee is using at the end of the month, that means you already have the money, right?
Correct.
Then just use a debit card and let it come out of your checking account because you've already got the money.
Yeah, but what about the security side of it? Employees, let's just say they go off and swipe for some dumb reason.
If they go off and do that with a credit card, it's your credit card. You're liable even if they ripped you off. The credit card company doesn't go, oh, your employees charged something they shouldn't have charged. We won't hold that against you. You still have to pay the freaking bill.
And if you've got somebody
you don't trust. Yeah, if you got somebody you don't trust to run a credit card, they don't need to be carrying a debit card. If they don't trust them to carry a debit card, they don't need to be running a credit card.
And they shouldn't be working for you.
It's the exact same thing. It's the exact same thing. Debit card has the same fraud protection that a credit card has. It's an Entree Leadership Theme Hour this day, this hour. Dr. John Deloney is my co-host as we talk to business owners, business leaders from across America with all kinds of questions about their business. Certainly the mental health aspect of leadership is in play today because we have the doctor in the house. If you're a business owner, you know problems and issues pop up all the time. Sometimes there's an easy solution, but a lot of times you don't have the answer. And if you have all the answers, that means you don't have the answer.
That should be a T-shirt, man.
That was deep. Maybe you've got an employee who isn't working out. Maybe your top client decided not to renew. Maybe you're struggling to find the right person to hire. Maybe you're burned up. Maybe the grind's getting you. I get it. Running a business is hard. Leadership's even harder, but you don't have to do it alone. That's why we created the Entree Leadership Advisory Groups. When you join, you'll get a coach and a group of like-minded business owners to help you navigate the challenges of running a business. Stop doing business alone. We are meant for community. Dr. D says that all the time. And get answers that you need to lead with confidence. Get plugged into an Entree Leadership Advisory Group. To apply for a group, text the phrase, get advice, one word, no spaces, get advice to 44222. Text get advice to 44222. Allison is in Phoenix. Hey, Allison, welcome to an Entree Leadership Theme Hour. What's up in your world?
Hi, thanks for having me.
Sure, what's up?
My husband and I, we were blessed with the opportunity to do Summit.
Okay, you're breaking up. You're going to have to get where your phone's working. Try one more time. Allison?
Yeah.
Hello?
All right, I'll come back to her. Let's go to Leah in Cleveland, Ohio. Hi, Leah. What's up?
Hey, John and Dave. It's such a pleasure to talk to both of you.
You too. What's up?
So my question is, I'm a small business owner, and we've been in business for, it'll be 5 years in August. And COVID kind of, made us put a ton of our business online, kind of go through make sure everything's really profitable. So a year later, we're kind of experiencing this really crazy period of growth where we're growing and we're trying to catch up with hiring and putting processes in place. My question is, as a business leader that was already kind of exhausted before COVID and then COVID happened, I feel like it's hard for me to kind of enjoy our success we're in right now because I am just mentally and physically absolutely exhausted all the time. And it seems like the seasons kind of, even if they change from you're stressed out about not having money to stressed out about not having enough people, it's just this constant cycle of exhaustion. And I guess I'm just looking for tips on kind of how to keep the perseverance going.
That's a great question. Dave, I've got some academic answers to that. You've experienced this.
Dive in. I'll follow.
I think a couple of things happen when you have an explosion of growth. Two things. Number one, think of this as your harvest season. For whatever reason, the last 5 years, not for whatever reason, I know why. The last 5 years, y'all set yourself up in a position to be successful. The integrity of your business, the excellence in your work, all those reputation things led to this moment when there was some sort of crisis and it paid off. So in many ways, your fields grew a lot more. You planted, and all of a sudden you got 2 plants per seed, right? And so there's a part of this where this isn't the moment to celebrate success. This is the moment to get out there and work the fields as hard as you can, right? I always think of exhaustion differently than fatigue. Fatigue, tired, is physical. Exhaustion is often philosophical, it's existential. It's that why. And what I find with business owners and small business owners and even big business owners is you go from a business of 6 of us and we are ragtag and this is who we are and we're scraping by and everybody's pulling their weight. And then all of a sudden you look up and there's 15 of you and you're getting a little more of a machine going. And then you have to ask yourself, A, is this what I want? This is cool. It's everything we thought, but it's just a different company now. And so you got to stop and acknowledge it. And you may have to put new systems in place. You may have to ask yourself a hard question. Do we want to keep taking more clients? Is this as big as we want to be? Or if not, we're going to have to get some wisdom. Like, Dave just read that we're going to have to get some coaching and help us level up. But it becomes a philosophical question. Is this what we want to be doing? Because this is different than what we were. Even though we're still plumbing, still serving customers, still doing that, we're doing it more of a corporate level. We're doing it a little bit bigger. We're doing it across the board. We're busier. We're later. We're missing games now. Do we want this new life? Right? And at some point, you got to stop the flow, go on a retreat, go with your top leadership team, go with your husband, whatever that looks like, and say, whew, we used to be, and now we are. Let's talk about that. And there's just something about taking a breath and acknowledging it. And the word I always use is grief. And sometimes we think grief is what you do when somebody dies or somebody gets fired. Sometimes you just have to grieve the fact that we used to be a small, nimble gang of 7 of us. And now we're a corporation of 50 or a team of 100, and it's just different. You grieve it. That's just acknowledging that what was is no more, and now we're going to lean into what is, and then you got to go do what the new thing is, right? Does that make sense?
It does, yeah, and I think that's where it's like the pressure of we're not fighting for our lives anymore in a sense, but it's like, is this what we want? And I think that like perfectly states it.
Yep.
And it's good, but then you feel bad about feeling bad about it a little bit.
No. Let me tell you where exhaustion comes from in this case, because I've been there like 8 different times over 30 years. It comes from the business is running you instead of you running it.
Yeah.
Who owns this? That's a question. Who owns it? You?
I do, yes.
You and your husband?
Yeah.
You own it?
Yes.
Then freaking tell it what to do.
Yeah.
It's not telling you what to do anymore. Stop it. You got to tell it what to do. You got to tell your business to freaking behave. You're killing me here. This is like a misbehaving kid. You're wearing me out. I was putting the grandbabies to bed the other night, and they were jumping around, and I'm like, girls, y'all going to have to go to bed. Girls, y'all going to have to go to bed. Girls are going to have to go to bed. And one of them says, Papa Dave's getting frustrated, and when my mama gets frustrated, it's not good. And that's what it is, isn't it? It's the same thing. This business is jumping around on the bed, and you told it 6 times to behave, and you told it what to do, and now you're going to have to manhandle this business, woman-handle this business, and wrestle it to the ground and make it do what you want it to do. You own it. You grew it. It was grown for you. Mm-hmm. It's for your benefit and the benefit of your customers. And so around here, that translates like when I quit enjoying doing something we do here because I do so much of it, I get exhausted at it. It's something I formerly liked doing, but we just wore Dave out with it. I finally look up and go, you stupid fool, you own the business. Just look at these people and say, I'm not doing that anymore. And so I stopped doing things I don't like doing. And so they all pray I continue to like the thing that they're working on. Right.
Well, but then there's people like me who benefit from that, right?
Yeah, you better hope I love your podcast.
That's right. So, that's right.
But it's got. We're joking around, but that's when I get exhausted, when the stupid thing starts running me instead of me running it, and I just have to throw my shoulders back and go, nope.
So what's something
that means
right now?
You're going to raise your prices and lower your volume. I can run a bunch of your customers off by double your prices, and suddenly you'll be peaceful and profitable.
Yeah. And I think that's where it's a little scarcity mindset of like, if we raise our prices, we won't have as many customers.
But you reach a point that I'd rather do that than feel like I feel right now.
Right. Absolutely.
And I'm okay if, and actually there's probably about 10% of those customers are taking up about 90% of your time anyway because they're freaking high maintenance.
Anytime.
Oh, I just read your mail. Okay.
Anytime you think the words, but I have to go, let me respond to this, or they need me to stop and check in with your husband and say, is this what we want to be doing?
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's just you need to run this business. It's running you.
I think a step away for a weekend with your husband.
Reach over and smack it on the bottom. Tell it to behave.
Yeah.
That was like a paddling.
I was going to say, I said, talk to your husband, and you said, reach over and paddle it. I was just going to let that hang there for a minute.
scripture of the day, Proverbs 17:17. Blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord, the people he chose for his inheritance. Benjamin Franklin said, where liberty dwells, there is my country. So here's the deal. We have, for those of you Entre Leadership fans out there, we have a free Facebook group for you to join if you want to. And you can bounce some ideas around there. And the name of it is Entre Leadership Tribe. Entre Leadership Tribe on Facebook. And so it's a free Facebook group that is unique to the Entre Leadership group, and you can get in there and bounce ideas around, and then that'll lead you into one of the advisory groups probably as well. And that's the next step after that, a little more formal than just being in a Facebook group bouncing ideas around. But we're going to be there to help you either way. So check it out. Free Facebook group, Entre Leadership Tribe. Private Facebook just for you folks that are doing business out there and want to share in our discussions on that. Allison's in Phoenix. I think we got her phone straightened out. What's up, Allison?
Hi. So my husband and I, we were able to go to Summit about a month ago.
Good.
Which was amazing.
Thank
you. We came back with so many things that we wanted to add to our business, and we've made a lot of changes. But the problem is I'm still having a hard time separating work and home just because our situation is a little unique.
What makes it unique?
So I started my business a year ago in March of 2020, which probably the worst time to start a business maybe ever.
Yeah, you think.
Yeah.
Yeah, your timing sucks.
Yeah, 2 weeks before the lockdown.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh.
So I didn't think it was going all that well till a couple months ago, and it's really started to pick up. To the point that I'm passing it off to my husband, and I actually have another startup that I want to put all my time and energy to. But I'm training my husband and passing it all off to him, and I'm still running the business.
Okay, so what is the
day.
unique situation, and what's the problem?
Just that I am working throughout the day. We're both working at home, and we have basically 3 businesses that we're running all out of our house. And so we work during the day and then come home and work during the night, which we're totally fine doing for a while. But at a certain point, we want to have a normal life, have kids, all that. And it just is taking over our life.
Yeah, this is it's one of those things that you say, how do you lose weight? And you say diet and exercise. It's simple, but there's $1 trillion industry, right? This is a very simple boundaries issue. And it's going to be very complex for you to untangle it. It's going to take a lot of discipline and a couple of months of learning and practicing how to do this. To give him credit, man, not just to toot his own horn, but Dave and his family, this is a family business. They work together, and I've seen them in meetings, and then I've seen them hanging out at the house. They do it better than anybody I've ever seen, but it's just about boundaries. This is when you and your husband get very specific about when we are working and when we are being romantic, when we are trying to solve business issues, and then we take that hat off, and then we get into building our marriage and relationships. Otherwise, I'm telling you right now, I've seen it. It will drown your relationship completely, pull you underwater, and you won't be able to get back up.
Do you have a physical office in the house?
No, we have a 1-bedroom apartment, so the whole place is kind of the office and the everything.
Okay.
Then you got to flip that around.
Yeah.
Meaning you've got to have your romantic, you got to make proximity space, you got to go somewhere.
You need to take one corner of the living room and set a desk over there, or 2 desks facing each other over there, and then the other corner has a television or whatever, and you don't have your business paperwork spread over the coffee table in front of the couch in front of the television and on the kitchen table while you're trying to eat. You need some physical boundaries because that'll cue your mind, oh, I just stepped out of the office. Oh, I just stepped into the office. And then you set each other up accountable, and you say, we're going to work late on Tuesday night and Thursday night, and Monday night is off limits, and Wednesday night we go on date night, and the only time we violate that is if we book a really lucrative appointment or something across one of those, and then we switch a night, meaning that that night we were going to work late becomes the date night. And so you just set yourself up on a rigid schedule to reprogram your brain and try to create some physical space to do that as well, because you got to have some visual cues, and one of the visual cues is a clock telling you what time it is. It's time to stop. It's time to change from business executive to wife, change from marketing executive to husband. It's time to change from production to not working and being at home. And that for sure means set any business screens like email and so forth aside. Screens will screw up your evening faster than anything else will, and they'll violate those boundaries.
And it may be something as simple as somebody calls the workday over and y'all go take a 20-minute walk alone, different directions.
Yeah, reset.
You come back to the house and now we're married.
Yeah,
we're not coworkers.
Yeah. So that's our drive home. We went for a walk, and now
Listen
we're home.
Listen to a podcast. I saw something funny.
Now that I'm home, I'm dad. Now that I'm home, I'm husband. I'm wife. Now that I'm home, I'm not the other thing. And that's what John's talking about, that our family has worked so hard on. Because when we work together all day long on something we love, with people we love, stopping is very hard.
And
it's like is there such a thing as too much ice cream?
Well, no, actually. But work skills, right? Being really good at my job here sometimes makes those skills don't work when I'm trying to be a dad.
Yeah.
They're different skill sets, right?
Yeah, it's a different sword.
Yeah.
Yeah. You need to take your sword off when you get home, put it above the mantle.
Yeah, take your boxing gloves off.
Right? Yeah, and the one you use at work doesn't work on your family.
That's right.
And so take it off and just old-fashioned, set it above the mantle. Mm-hmm. Put the musket. We've been out hunting bear all day. Let's put the musket above the mantle.
Right.
And you don't turn that on your 3-year-old.
That's exactly right.
It's a different set of tools. And it's a beautiful question, Allison. I love where you are.
I do too.
The beautiful thing is that you've got the things working. You two of you in a 1-bedroom apartment starting yet another business bothers me. It sounds like maybe you should focus a little bit instead of being spread so thin, but that's a different question and a different answer. So it might play into this because you might be trying to do too much with too little. There's only so many hours in the day, as they say, and but that's a way of looking at this. So
one of the things we did with I recommended to folks who were homeschooling their kids, who were getting those boundaries, was something as simple as put a hat on when you're a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
And when mommy or daddy's wearing the hat, they are Mr. So-and-so, or they are teacher. And when that hat's off, then we're mommy, right? Or then we're daddy again. And it gives those kids a physical cue.
Yeah.
I can go hug and be silly versus I got to get that assignment done, right?
Yeah, I don't have to take my mom seriously, but I better take my teacher seriously.
Teacher seriously,
yeah,
that's right.
That kind of thing. Mom will let me get away with this, but the teacher never would. It's a visual cue. I mean, even all the way back to when the dinosaurs roamed the earth and I was in college, they said, set your desk aside in an area inside your living, where you're going to live, the home you're living in. Set a desk aside and don't do anything at that desk except study. Mm-hmm. So when you sit down at that desk, your brain says, okay, time to study.
And the same goes for your bedroom, right?
Yeah.
Don't do work in bed. Don't watch crazy movies. Like the bed is for just a couple of things, man, and not for work and other things, because it's all about the physical.
Spread your receivables all over the bed. That's a bad idea.
That's right.
It's not. It's just you get it. Yeah, you're exactly right. There's something about our minds that is that simple.
Yeah.
And it's helpful to just give ourselves tracks to run in.
Intentionality is the key there.
Good show, John. Dr. John Deloney, Ramsey personality, my co-host today. That puts this entree leadership theme hour in the books. We'll be back with you before you know it. In the meantime, remember, there's ultimately only one way to financial peace, and that's to walk daily with the Prince of Peace, Christ Jesus.
Hey, it's Kelly, associate producer and phone screener for The Ramsey Show. If you would like to do your debt-free scream live on the show, make sure you visit theramseyshow.com and register. We would love for you to come to Nashville and tell Dave your story.